Docker generates a random name for each container we run, but we can also specify an explicit name for a container when running a container. If I run docker run and run the command we ran before, which is just an nginx container, I'm going to run this in detached mode, specify the port. I can specify a name for this container by using the name flag and then giving my container a name. So I'll call this container nginx container 1, and then after that specify the image you want to create the container off of. Now if I type docker ps, we'll see that I have one running container and the name is the name that I specified instead of the random name. Now this is great, but something to note in Docker is that you can't have containers with duplicate names. If I try to kill this container and then rerun that Docker command, we'll see that I get a conflict from the Docker daemon. The container name is already in use. Now, even though I don't have any containers running, I do have a stopped container if I type docker ps-a. Here's the container that I just stopped. So I can't reuse this container name until I remove the container. I can use the docker remove command in order to remove that container completely. So docker remove nginx container 1. So now that that container is removed, I can rerun that command from before, and now I have another container called nginx container 1. Now this is kind of a pain, but the benefits of naming a container can be to automate tasks such as executing commands in a container or killing a container, because instead of having to go fetch the container ID or the randomly generated container name, you'll be defining the container name yourself, so you'll be able to hold on to a reference to that container. Now usually when you run just one-off docker run commands, you won't be defining a container name, especially when you have to go in and remove that container after you kill it in order to then remake the container. However, there is a way around this too. You can also run docker run with a container name, but also force that container to be removed once it has stopped. You can specify the remove flag in order to do that. So now this has the same behavior as before. We'll see that the container is running, but now if I kill that container, when I type docker ps-a, we'll see that that nginx container 1 is no longer showing up under my stopped containers. Now over time, when you run docker ps-a, you'll start to accumulate a lot of stopped containers. I only have one right here, but eventually you may have tens or even hundreds. In order to save disk space and kind of keep your container management under control, there is a prune command that Docker provides. You can run docker container prune, and this command will remove all stopped containers. If I type Y, we'll see that when I run docker ps-a, all of my stopped containers are now removed.